Hello, welcome to another weekly update. Thanks for joining me. For all my American friends, it's July the 4th when I'm filming this, so happy July 4th day. Yep, have a good one, whatever it is you're doing. For everyone else, I hope you had a good week anyway. And yeah, lots of things happening this week actually, so let's kick it off. The first one, an announcement. Actually, this didn't come out this week, but it came to my attention as a question that showed up on Twitter, and I was not sure of the answer, so I went and found out and got some help to find out the answer, and brought this blog post to my attention, so I thought I would share it with you. And that's around Microsoft 365 live events. So back in April, when this whole global pandemic lockdown thing started, Microsoft increased on a temporary basis some default limits for how Microsoft 365 live events were structured and managed. And when they set those up, they had they ran until July 1st. So people were asking, well, it's July the 1st now, what happens? Are those limits going to revert? What are we going to do? Because we've been using live events for these big meetings up to 20,000 people, long events, so 16 hours in length. Normally it's a lot shorter for live events. And 50 events happening simultaneously. So these are new limits that have been temporarily put in place. Anyway, Microsoft have since extended those limits until October the 1st. So that's great news for anyone who is using live events to kind of just keep communicating with the workforce. You can keep doing that with those temporary limits. They stay in place now until at least October the 1st. So that's really good news. Okay, so developers. Azure Active Directory Graph API. So this is the precursor to Microsoft Graph. So Azure Active Directory Graph, that API has been deprecated for a little while. It is officially now out of support. Well, that's not quite true. Oh, yes, it is, sorry, from the 30th of June. So it is officially out of support. No, that's not true either. Sorry, my bad. I'm misreading. So from July 30th, 2020, so a few days ago, no new features will be added, but technical security updates will still be applied. You can still get technical support on it. However, you really should move over because no new features are going to be added, no new workloads, just the endpoints that are there are going to stay exactly the same. And this starts the 2-year countdown to it being turned off. So June 30th, 2022, that API will not be there anymore. It will not respond to any more requests. So you really do need to move over. There's a capability graph, I put it in my blog post. There's a capability graph showing the things that were missing between the two, the gaps, if you like, that currently, that Microsoft Graph kind of couldn't service, that were being serviced in AAD Graph. And it's like a graph showing you that those things are now available in Microsoft Graph. So they're either in GA or they're in preview, or they've got some timelines on them around like this is in preview, this is coming really soon, this is already GA. So if you've got any code, go and check it out. Check out you're not still using that old Azure Active Directory graph, because you do need to move over from now really. Yeah, I mean, you've got 2 years, but at the same time, do it now because you'll get all the new features. I think performance will probably be better because now that it's in this kind of 2-year window of no new features, no new fixes, just keeping the lights on, I think, yeah, you're just better off being on Microsoft Graph at this point, I think. Okay, blog post over that in the week. It's an interesting one, you might want to go and look into this. The title is, could Microsoft Teams be about to let you set different channels as the default, replacing the general channel? So as you know, when you create a team, you get a general channel. You can't change that. You can't control it. Everybody gets one. And there's definitely a user voice about being able to change that, rename it, delete it. Yeah, there's a user voice. It's got, I think, nearly 4,000 votes on it. Anyway, I was looking through the Microsoft Graph changelog the other day, and I noticed something new came in June that I didn't see announced anywhere, but maybe it was, I just missed it. And it's the addition of a new API call to get the primary channel for a team. So right now, if you get the primary channel for a team, you're going to get back the general channel. That's what they term as the primary channel. But I thought this was interesting because this is a new API endpoint that right now will always return general. So kind of why would you do that? Why would you make that API endpoint? Maybe it's because Microsoft don't want developers hard coding the word general into all the teams, into their code, because that's kind of nasty. Maybe it's to support multiple languages, because obviously, depending on the region and the locale, your general channel may actually not be called general, right? So there is that. So there are some good reasons for doing this, but also maybe what if Microsoft are planning in the future in letting you change the channel name, so they need an API call like this to get back the primary channel, because in the future it might not actually be called general. Don't know, but I thought it was interesting. So I pulled out the API call, screenshotted it. You can go look at it in the blog post. You can get the links to the documentation. Those are my thoughts. Don't know what's going to happen with it, but I thought it was interesting, so I thought I'd share it with you. Another blog post I did this week was a how-to guide, and it's about the new Visual Studio extension for Microsoft Teams. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. It's in Visual Studio Code right now. It was announced at Build. It's coming to the kind of fat Visual Studio, but it's not out just yet. But you can definitely get the Visual Studio Code one. It's a good template scaffolding kind of thing. It's called the Microsoft Teams Toolkit. You can get it from the Visual Studio Marketplace. It goes straight into code, and from there you can build an app, and it will scaffold out an app with tabs or a bot or a messaging extension, whatever you want really. You tell it what you want to do, it does the scaffolding for you. It's really nicely put together. It's not loads of sample demo code that you don't need, if that makes sense. It does just the bare minimum, which I really like in scaffolding. So it's a functional project that you can build, run, and deploy to Teams and see running, but it doesn't do anything, if that makes sense. It's not like a to-do list. It's not like it's not like some fancy application. It's the one I created with a tab. So yeah, it's got all the scaffolding parts to make the application, and then you load up the tab and it just says, here's your first tab. So it's exactly what you need to jump into actually adding your code. So I really like this. I think it's really cool. I'm going to use it for my next project. So I did a big kind of how-to write-up with loads of screenshots. I'm going to do a video at some point. It's a bit hard for me to do video right now, just because we're moving around all the rooms in the house, so everything is everywhere, and I've no idea where all the video stuff is. So I'm going to leave it a couple of weeks, but I will do a video about this just as soon as I can. And finally, the last thing to tell you about is a blog post that I did for the Microsoft Teams community blog, which if you're not aware of, you should definitely go and check out. It's part of Microsoft Tech Community. It's a new it's a new blog area to feature blog posts about Microsoft Teams from the Microsoft Teams community. So not just Microsoft, MVPs and others in the community space. So there's a number of really good blog posts on there already. I did one about things that people can do right now in this working from home time to take their line of business applications, which might be really hard for people to get to right now because they're on the corporate network, etc., and bring them into Microsoft Teams and just kind of increase how easy it is for users to get hold of them and get access to them and get their workloads done. All right, I think that's everything I want to talk about. Nearly at time, long one today, sorry. But lots and lots of things to talk about, lots to cover. And I think next week should be pretty exciting as well, because we've got Commsverse coming up. So definitely be plenty to talk about there. All right, thanks very much for watching. Have a great week, whatever it is you're doing. And I will talk to you again next week.